Here, I hold in my hands all the books I read in March, and I'm so excited to talk about all of them. I feel like I had such a good reading month. I did want to read 7 books, but I did read a couple hefty books, so let's talk about them. This month I read 6 books, and the first book I read, I'm just gonna hop right into it because I'm just so excited to talk about all these books. And the first book I read was The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel. Now, I thought this was an amazing historical fiction. I love historical fiction so much. And actually, Kristen Hanna got me into reading historical fictions, and that's kind of why I wanted to branch out and read different authors of the genre. And I just thought this was so interesting. It is set in 1942, and it is about the Holocaust. And Ava Traub, she's Jewish, and she basically got ran out of her home, and her father got taken away, and all she had was her mother left. And so she is trying to figure out how to get out of France and get away from the Nazis, and she finds this priest, and this priest basically, I don't want to give anything away. Okay, it's in here. So basically she finds the Resistance, and the Resistance helps forges identity cards for children who are Jewish, or just women and men who are Jewish who are trying to flee France and get into Switzerland or the free zones. And basically they're trying to get these people out, and it's a whole resistance. And Ava, she becomes one of the head forgers because she's really good at art, and so she becomes of this whole operation trying to save people, and we follow that whole story. And surprisingly, it's not just historical fiction, it does have romance, and I feel like a lot of the book was centered around Ava and her relationship with this partner she has. And I feel like the ending was so surprising to me. It blew my mind. It was crazy. It made me cry. I'm gonna be real, it made me cry. It was so good, so good. So my thoughts, I basically described most of the plot. I just think it's a really good book. I definitely think I was in the book too long, and it had the ability to be a 5-star. It just took me way too long to read, and at some parts it was kind of slow and felt like it was just taking forever to get through. But overall I really enjoyed the storyline. I thought it was super interesting. I thought it was just such a good historical fiction book, and I have read mostly Kristen Hanna historical fiction, so I think branching out and getting to read different authors in this genre is really good for me, and I definitely enjoyed it. So I gave this one 4.25 stars. It was so good, definitely recommend. And it's The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel. And then the next book I read was actually the March Book of the Month pick, and I definitely thoroughly enjoyed it. It is Our Infinite Fates by Lauren Steven. I thought the premise was really cool. So basically, it was told to be kind of similar to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I 100% love that book. That book was a 6-star last year. It was probably one of my favorite books of the year. I loved it so much. It is so close to my heart, and I went into this book with really big expectations because of that. It follows Evelyn and Arden, and they are basically supernatural beings, and Arden has to hunt down Evelyn in every single life, and you don't know why that is till the end of the book. Arden kind of evades that topic whenever they're together, and by the age of 18 they both die. They both have to die. Arden hunts Evelyn every single life, no matter who they are, no matter where they are. They both have to die, and you don't find out the reason until the end of the book. But also in every single life they fall in love. They don't know who each other are until they find each other, if that makes sense. And so it's basically a forbidden romance thing, and they have ties to each other in every single life, and they fall in love. And it was a lot to take in, and I thought the premise was really interesting, and I really liked the poetry aspect to it. Arden, one of the main characters, wrote poetry. He has written poetry in almost all his lives, and I thought that was a very enjoyable part of the book, and I did really like this, and it was a super easy read. I think I read this in one sitting. It's not a very long book, but I think it was really good. It definitely, and I would love to read more works by Laura Stevens. I'm pretty sure this isn't her first book. Anyways, yeah. But with the romance, I felt like we were told they were in love and not shown, if you know what I mean. I feel like the romance was kind of lacking. They just said, oh yeah, they're in love in every lifetime. Where is it? Like, in some of the lives I saw that, but in other lives I'm like, no way. What? That is not love, okay? But after all of that, I really enjoyed the ending. It definitely surprised me, but I do feel like it pulled the book together without giving a solid, like, final hurrah. I feel like it was very open. The ending was very open-ended, and I really enjoyed that about the book. There's more things that can happen, more adventures they can have together, and I thought that was just an amazing way to end it. And after all that, I'm thinking this book is 3.75 to 4. The romance was kind of underwhelming, but I thought the premise was just really cool, and I definitely enjoyed all the different eras they went through, and I thought it was a very interesting way to read about the characters, and I just thought it was really good, and I do definitely recommend it. It's not my favorite fantasy, but I think it's really good. Okay, and then this next book was so good. So good. It's In Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. Oh my gosh, I love this book so much. I'm so excited to continue the series, and honestly, I wanted to drop every single other book and just continue this series. It was so good. Okay, it is about Laia, and this whole universe or world, whatever you'd call it, there's the Empire, and then there's these different districts, I would call them. Maybe not districts, I don't know. But Laia, she is part of the scholars, and her brother is taken away by the Martial Empire, which are kind of the rulers who conquered all these other people, and they rule over all these people. They don't rule nicely. That's what I'm gonna say. They do not rule nicely. So basically, Laia's brother is taken away because he's thought to be part of the rebellion, and that is very much frowned upon in this world. And in order to get her brother back, Laia tries to find the rebellion, and she's trying to work with them, and it's just this whole thing. The leader of the rebellion is like, no, I don't want to help you, but if you do this for me, I'll help you. Like, okay. And she's trying to call in all these different favors to get them to help her, and finally he lets up and basically tells her that she has to go work as a slave in the most dangerous place in this whole world. Okay, so she agrees to that, and she starts to work as a slave in I forget what the school's called. Okay, it's basically the Empire's greatest military academy, and basically here they train their strongest soldiers, called the Mask, and it is a very hard school to be in. Many people don't make it to the final year of the school, and they beat a lot out of you. It's just ridiculous. And there's also, in this book, there's also a trial aspect that I was definitely not expecting, but I actually really enjoyed. I think it's done really well, and the politics in this world were amazing. The way Sabaa Tahir can build a world and just have me perfectly understand what is going on with the politics is actually, like, surprising, because I struggle with fantasy books sometimes, especially the first in a series, and I thought it was so done so well. It was just so good. Okay, it was so good. But the romance, the main characters didn't really interact too much in the book, but the times that we saw them interact, I absolutely loved. I ate those up. Like, every little bit I ate up. I thought it was just so good. Okay, it was so good. I am just this book. But with that, we definitely didn't get a lot of interaction between them, and so that brought the rating down. But, like, I'm still saying this book is absolutely amazing, and I think this series will be a 5-star series. It definitely has the potential for that. And also, the way this book made me cry, and I barely knew the characters, and I was already sobbing. Okay, so this book is a 4.75 stars, and the next book in this series is most likely going to be 5 stars. Okay, and then we went downhill from here. Okay, so the next book I read was You Between the Lines, and I also chose this as a book of the month. I bought 2 books, and this wasn't one of the selections. It was just one they had on their app, and I was like, this looks so good. So basically, I love poetry, absolutely adore poetry, and I always love when there's poetry in books. And so it is about these 2 poets, and they are academic rivals. It sounds so good already. It had such good potential. Okay. but it's about Lee, and it is about Lee and Will, and basically they were rivals back in high school, and now they are like 30. I think they're like 30, and honestly they don't act like it. They act like, the way they act was just not like giving 30 to me. It felt like they were making decisions that like 19-year-olds would make, and 19-year-olds and 30-year-olds are not the same. They are not the same. They are in different parts of their life, and it just wasn't working for me, okay? That was the first thing. And I loved Will so much, okay? I loved him. I thought he was really trying with Lee, okay? He was really trying. So these two are both part of an MFA writing program. So they're working on their poetry degree, continuing their careers in poetry, because they both want to make it big, okay? And so now, after many years, they run into each other at this MFA program after not seeing each other for a really long time, and basically we find out that a couple years after high school there was this situation, and at the beginning it's kind of awkward for them because of the situation, and you just have to read to find out what it is. And after all of that, I loved the poetry. Okay, I loved the poetry aspect of this book, and I loved Will. As I said, I think he was amazing. I like poetry. Smart guys. He's a smart guy, okay? And Lee, to me, was kind of insufferable for most of the book, and she was just trying to push Will away so much. Like, at the beginning, I was like, okay, it's part of the story. They'll figure it out. And it went all the way till the end, and it was low-key driving me crazy. It was driving me crazy. The push and pull, it was good for a while, and then it's like, why? Will is doing good for you. He has told you what he wants, and you're like, no, you're still pushing him away. And it's driving me insane. It's driving me insane, okay? I just wanted them to have a happy ending and for them to get together. And she was not having it. And it was making me so angry. And then her character growth was good, but for most of the book, she was absolutely insufferable to me. And I get she was going through problems, but the way she handled those problems was just not biting well with me. And I did not like that. And when I don't like a female main character, I feel like kind of disconnected after all that. And it was just, It was just, yeah, I felt disconnected. But after saying all that, I did read this book in one sitting. It was a very easy romance read, and I thought it was fun for the most part, other than Lee's problems and the way she handled them. And I absolutely loved Will. I loved the poetry and the found family aspect. I would say it's not a lot of found family, but I thought that was a fun part of the book. But also, all these 30-year-olds act like late teenagers, and I was just not having it. And after all that, it was not an awful rating. I still gave it 3.25 stars. Maybe 3, I don't know. I did really enjoy it while I was in the book. It let me escape. This was definitely not my favorite romance, which is sad because I had such high hopes for it, and I just love poetry, and it was just not working for me. But also, look at this cover. It's so adorable. Do you see these flowers and everything? It's so cute. And I was definitely sad about that being that low of a rating. I had such high hopes for it. And then the next book I was ecstatic for. This book was a 5-star prediction in my last TBR video, and I was just so excited to get to it. And then it definitely let me down. It let me down 100%. I think the problem was that I had such high hopes for it, and it was just not what I expected. And if you don't already know, this book is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. And if you know why I read this, I read it because Sunrise on the Reaping came out, and I wanted to be fully immersed in this world and know what was going on and have all the information that was already out in this whole dystopian universe. And I'm actually really glad that I did read it, because I feel like I'm only like 40 pages into Sunrise on the Reaping, but I feel like we've already had so many cameos with characters from this story, and just having all the backstory, I feel a lot more engaged and a lot more into the world, and I know what's going on, and I'm really enjoying Sunrise on the Reaping. And I feel like it's giving me a 5-star feeling that this book didn't. And if you don't know what this book is, where have you been? First of all, where have you been? But it is the prequel to the Hunger Games universe, and it is Snow's story. So President Snow's backstory. And I read like a review on Fable, and it was like saying how Snow never had a villain arc. He's always been a villain, and that's so real. It is real. Like this man has never not had evil in his blood. This man is 100% evil. He made me so mad, and I feel this book was like 200 pages too long, and I got so bored like halfway through. I feel like halfway through it was just going so slow, and I was not working well with it. And then I switched to the audiobook, and the last half felt so rushed, and I was so confused because all that build up, and then it's just like going. I was like, what is going on? It was like backlash after that. Like, when there was nothing going on, it was so boring. Like, we were just following along with Snow, and Snow, he's stuck up. He's very stuck up, and he grew up rich, and he had basically everything, and then the war happened, and he lost a lot. I can say that. He definitely lost a lot and went through it, but the actions he had, he just acted so snooty, and I was not biting well with it. The things he did and the choices he made, just, I didn't agree with. Okay, and I guess I'm not supposed to agree with it. I guess the book did what it wanted to do. I hate Snow, okay? I hate him. The way it ended, why did it end like that? Why did it have to end like that? Like, I'm serious. Okay, and all that, after all that, I feel like it had a purpose, and it did its purpose. I now know background about Snow and how the Hunger Games was brought up, and I feel like that is very important information to have about this whole world. And it was fine. I had to switch to the audiobook halfway through, if I didn't already say that, and that definitely helped me. I don't think I'd be able to finish it without the audiobook. It was definitely just 200 pages too long, and the stuff where things and the chapters where things were actually happening, I enjoyed. But other than that, I was just not doing well. I got super bored. And all that, 3.25, 3.5, I think I'm leaning towards 3.5 for this book because I enjoyed it. It was just a struggle. But once I got through it, I think it had a purpose, and it served its purpose. So, that book. And then the last book I read this month was Kingdom of the Curse by Kerri Maniscalco, and if you don't know, this is part of the Kingdom of the Wicked series, and I can't really talk about much that happens in this book because it is the second book in a series, and I definitely do enjoy this series, and I really like Kerri Maniscalco's writing. I think it's very enchanting, and the way she writes about food, the way this woman writes about food is crazy. I think she does so well with that, and I love the characters. I can't really connect to them or anything, but I really do enjoy the bonds these characters have with each other and just the way they interact, and I will be continuing this series. So far, I like this book better than the second one just because of all the interactions we have between the main two characters, which is Wrath and Amelia. I really enjoyed all that, and I'm mostly reading this series for like more background information about the Throne of the Fallen series, and I did read the first Throne of the Fallen series, but I want to read that as the books come out. I want to read that whole series, so the next one I have to get to is Throne of Secrets, but I want all this background information that I didn't already have in Throne of the Fallen because I feel like I did miss out on a lot not reading this series first, and this series is definitely more YA than Throne of the Fallen. That series, Throne of the Fallen, was actually very spicy, and I'm not saying there's no spice in this. There's definitely spice in it. I feel like Kerri Maniscalco's books always have just a little bit of spice sprinkled everywhere, and there was spice a lot in this book. I feel like it was kind of unnecessary, but overall the plot I thought was very interesting. I do think there was like almost too much going on. I definitely got confused at times about why characters were doing what, and I found it kind of hard to like focus on one thing for that. And then also I think the rating that I have for this book definitely could have been higher, but it just took me way too long to read. I started it and read 100 pages, and I felt good. I thought I was going to finish this like really fast in like 3 days or something, that did not happen, and then I kind of just stopped reading it in the middle, and then I picked it up like 4 days later. And I think that took away from my experience with this book. I wasn't as into the world as I would have liked to be, but I think the third book in this series will definitely pull everything together and kind of connect strings that are missing for me. And I'm really glad I picked up this series because I'm really enjoying it, and this fantasy series I think is done really well. It's definitely not my favorite politics wise, but I love the character so much. I love Amelia. I feel like I can connect to her as a sister, and I just love like the cooking aspect of it. I know that's weird, but I love that so much. And then I like getting to see all the brothers, the Sin brothers. I don't know what you would call them. I love Wrath. I love him as a male main character, and I think the romance in this was done so well, and I thought it was just like so much tension and longing, and the reasons behind that and everything, I feel it was just done so well, and I really enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend this series as a fun fantasy series. It's only 3 books, so it's a trilogy, and I 100% enjoy this, and I do even recommend Throne of the Fallen. I actually like Throne of the Fallen a little more than this series. But going into Throne of the Fallen, it is definitely spicy. If you do not like spice, don't go into that series. You can't really skip it because there's just a lot going on in that book. But I think that book was done really well, but I didn't get as much world building in Throne of the Fallen as I did in Kingdom of the Wicked. So if you want to go into the Throne of the Fallen series, definitely read these books first because you get just so much more backstory and so much more world building. So yeah, that is my final thoughts on that, and I gave this book a 4-star, maybe 4 to 4.25. I really enjoyed this book. I think it's just done so well. And I gave Kingdom of the Wicked, which is the first book in this, a 3.75. So it's not awful series. I just don't think I just don't always enjoy everything that's going on, and I get confused. So yeah, 4-star. And then I'm not finished with this book by any means, but I really want to talk about it. I just enjoyed this book so much, but I'm only 40 pages into it, like I've said already. And if you haven't already guessed it, it is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. And the reactions I have seen from different booktubers reading it has made me like ecstatic to get through this book. But I do really want to take my time in reading this because I don't know if Suzanne Collins will come out with any more Hunger Games books. This may be the last one, and I love this world so much. I think it is done so well, and the way she writes dystopian is just amazing. It is absolutely amazing, and the cameos we have gotten in this book already, we are not running out of those. We have gotten so many of the cameos, and so many strings are tied and to the other books and the original trilogy, and I think those are done so well. And already in The Reaping, Suzanne Collins has done a really good job. You know what's going to happen if you've read the original trilogy. You know the outcome of that reaping, but you don't know really how it happened. I'll leave it at that. But the way she did the reaping in this book, and since you know the outcome, you're like, well, I already know what's going to happen. No, you don't. Okay, no you don't. I think that was so clever of her. It was done so well, and I am enjoying this book so much. I definitely think it is a potential 5-star already, and I'm 40 pages into it. And also, I gotta say that innocence we have seen from Haymitch, it's gonna make me cry, guys. Like, he seems so innocent, and the way, like, he doesn't drink. Okay, I'm gonna cry right now because that is ridiculous. He was such an innocent kid, and then all of this happened, and it's just like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry. But it's just, the way I'm connected to these characters is ridiculous, because they are characters in a book, and I'm gonna cry about it. Okay, so that's all my bookish updates, and if you haven't noticed, do you like my shirt, guys? I'm wearing it because I just bought it, and I know it is not spring, but I wanted to go to Hollister for some spring clothes, and I didn't really like anything. Nothing really fit that well on me, so I went back in the clearance section, and I wanted this during winter. I wanted one, but in like cherry red. They didn't have a cherry red one, but I love this off the shoulder style. I think it is adorable, and it was like $30, discounted from like 50 or 60, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and buy it now, even though it's not wintertime or fall. I'll have it during that season, and I actually think it is adorable. Thank you. I think it is so cute, and I'm just loving it. So, and throughout this whole video, if you can't tell, I'm kind of losing my voice, and it's just kind of gravelly and everything, if you can't hear. And I am really stuffed up for some reason. I'm sick, and we are going into spring, and I do not want to be sick for like the first week of spring. Or no, I guess the first week of spring is over, but I do not want to be sick for my spring break. That would really suck, because I'm going on a cruise over spring break, and I definitely do not want to be sick throughout that. That would be awful. I just I ate ice cream the other day, and I know you guys don't know, but I have like this immune thing with dairy where my body thinks dairy attacks it, so it's trying to fight it off, and I get really bad sinus infections because of it, and I get really sick every time I eat dairy, and I know that, but I still punish myself by eating ice cream because I love ice cream. I also ate cheese, so I made some bad decisions over the weekend that I'm not proud of now, because I'm now sick, and it is a Monday. But that does mean I get to stay home and talk about books and read. So I guess I didn't make too bad of a mistake, but I am feeling the aftermath of the dairy. So anyways, I'm gonna go through all the books and just tell you the ratings to all of them, just so a little recap for the whole video, because I know you guys want it. But I'm gonna give it to you even if you don't want it. So the first one was The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel, and I gave it 4.25 stars. And the next one was Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven, and I gave this 3.75 stars. And then the third one was An Ember in the Ashes, and I enjoyed this so much, 100% recommend, and it was 4.75 stars, and this was probably my favorite read of March. And then my fourth one was You Between the Lines by Katie Naiman. I did enjoy it, but I struggled with the main character, so I ended up giving this a 3 to 3.25 stars. And then this next one was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I gave it 3.5 because I thought it was an important book to read, and I really enjoyed getting all the background details, but it was definitely way too long for me. And then the last read of March was Kingdom of the Curse by Carrie Maniscalco, and I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I don't have too many critiques, but it definitely wasn't my favorite fantasy book, but I did really enjoy it. So that is everything for this month, for the month of March. Now, next month, I'm hoping to read 6 books, and of those 6 books, I have a new release, I have a start of a new trilogy, and a start of a really big book talk series. And if you can't guess, it's Fourth Way. So I'm scared to get into that series, but I'm definitely really excited. I was super scared to get into An Ember in the Ashes, and I absolutely love it already, and I'm only in the first book. And if you haven't watched my TBR video, well, actually I don't think it's out yet, so I'm just telling you guys ahead of time of a couple of the books on my TBR. But my TBR video will probably come out next week. Maybe I'll post the TBR video first and then post this one. I don't know, I haven't decided yet. In the comments, tell me what you think about when I should post things, because I kind of struggle. I like posting my videos on Saturdays at 8, but tell me what day you guys think I should be posting, because I'm open to suggestions. It does kind of take me a while to film and edit because I talk a lot and I do usually have a lot to edit out and a lot of bloopers and just everything, and it's interesting. But anyways, what other updates do I have for you? I don't really think I have any other updates other than I'm reading Sunrise on the Reaping and eating a nap. Oh, and I'm also so excited. I'm trying to get this done before my cruise during spring break. I don't know when that is, but I'm absolutely so excited for Fearless coming out, because if you haven't read Lauren Roberts' Powerless, I really enjoy it. It's a lot like Hunger Games, like eerily similar. But I think since I love Hunger Games so much, I love Powerless a lot, because it's like the Hunger Games with more romance, which I love romance, and that combination is so good. It's so good. And So the second book, Reckless, I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it, but I loved it so much because, like I said, I love romance, I love banter, and I thought it was just perfect for me, at least. I know a lot of people don't like it because it is really roundabout and there's a lot of things that were repetitive in that book, but I didn't really care all that much. I love the characters, so I was just happy to go along with them and everything. And then the way that book ended was not okay. That epilogue was ridiculous, okay? It was ridiculous. I was unwell. I was very unwell. So I am so excited for Fearless, and Lauren Roberts, I need that happy ending. I'm sorry, I need a happy ending for these two. Do you hear me? I need a happy ending, okay? And I'm just so excited for it. I'm ridiculously excited. And then also, I'm just gonna keep talking. So just for a little bit longer. If you want to leave a comment down below a snake emoji for Sunrise on the Reaping. Okay? Yeah, do that. And then anyways, I really want to read Emily Henry's A Great Big Beautiful Life. I love Emily Henry's writing. I think it is really enjoyable, and her romances are so, like, there are real life problems in it, and I really enjoy that aspect. It's not all like rom-com-y, and I've read 3 of her books, and I'm still calling her one of my favorite authors. I think the way she writes is done so well, and she really captures the human experience in her books. And I think in all her books you can always find a character that you can connect with and kind of see yourself in, and I love that part of her books. And like I said, I've only read 3 of her books, and I do want to read the other books she already has out yet, but I don't know if I'll get to those first and then go to A Great Big Beautiful Life, or go to A Great Big Beautiful Life and then just read the other ones. And like, you mostly hear of all her newer releases, like Book Lovers and Funny Story and all that. And I did love Book Lovers. That's my favorite one of hers. But I really want to read A Million Junes. Is that what it's called? I don't think that's what it's called, but it's like one of her original duologies, I think, and it looks so good. I don't think it's called A Million Junes. I'll put it on the screen for you guys so I don't seem crazy, like I don't know what I'm talking about. I promise, I see the cover in my head. I just can't see the title, okay? Anyways, I don't want to talk your ear off because at the moment I've been talking for about 45 minutes, which this video will not be that long because I probably edited a lot of things out because I'm a little bit of a mess, but that is the majority of my bookish updates and life updates. As y'all know, if you've watched some of my other videos, I like to talk, I like to chat, and I just like to make it like I'm talking to one of my best friends. I find that really fun, and I hope y'all find it fun too. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, share if you like. Go watch some of my other videos, and I hope you have an amazing April, amazing spring, and have lots of fun spring books that you have on your bookish bucket list. And I'm just so happy that you guys come join my little channel, my little family, and I love talking to you guys. And I hope you have an amazing day. I love you. Goodbye.